Hey everybody, Mighty Moose here from Mighty Moose Outdoors. This is my long-term review of the GX Pump CS4. I've had this one for over a year now. That has included times where I have used it regularly, as well as it being in storage for longer periods of time. And long story short, it's a great pump and I recommend it. So if that's all you wanted to hear, you can go now. If you want to stick around and hear the details, hear about how I've used it, then here we go. So basically this is a water-cooled pump, which differs from the vast majority of the pumps on the market. Most of them are air-cooled, which makes them less efficient, a lot louder, more prone to overheating. But this one has never gotten anywhere near to overheating with me. And in fact, this one has a runtime, I believe, of over 4 hours, which means that you can run it with a tank. So if you want to fill a larger scuba tank or anything like that, you can totally do it and it'll be fine. It can handle it. Now, the instructions say to use either pure water or coolant in here. It says it needs to be pH neutral coolant. I have done a pretty fair amount of research on it. It's really hard to find pH neutral coolant. So if you really care about it being pH neutral, I would recommend just using distilled water and you should be totally fine. I use just generic Prestone coolant for my local AutoZone. Just tried to find one that was marked as general purpose. And that's what I've used for over a year, and it has worked great. Now, I originally got this to use with my Leshy 2, and it worked great. I decided to sell the Leshy 2. I'll make a longer video explaining why later. And after I sold that, I put this into storage for quite a while, probably like 6 months. I didn't do anything to prepare it. Obviously, I made sure it didn't have anything in the tank. You know, it wasn't under pressure or anything like that. But other than that, I just threw it in the garage. And it's been out there on a shelf. I just pulled it in tonight just to give it another run and see if it was all working great, and it's working perfectly. I use it to fill up the Benjamin Marauder, which I'm actually using to replace my Leshy 2, and it filled up the tank in under 3 minutes, I think. Now granted, it's a very small tank, but it works perfectly fine, quiet enough that I can use indoors when I've got kids upstairs sleeping and it doesn't bother them all. So extremely quiet, extremely efficient. It fills very quickly. Overall, it's just a great pump, and I highly recommend it. The one thing that I don't like is that you still have to carry around the inverter, which is this right here. So you can plug these directly into a car battery, or you can have your power inverter and bring it with, which of course I'm almost always running off of a wall plug when I'm going places. So I'm always lugging around the inverter. It's really annoying. Now, the good news is, well, when this first came out, I asked the manufacturer if they had any plans to make one with an inverter. They told me no, because it was too big. It was too bulky. I said that I would really be interested in one, that I thought the community would be as well, but they said they didn't have any plans to. But they actually just announced that they have one out. It's actually available on Amazon now. I'll have links in the comments. From what I understand, it's almost the exact same, except they have upgraded the motor on it. But the rest of the parts should be the same. So it has a built-in inverter and a more powerful motor. So I'm hoping to be able to get one on the channel for you guys here soon, to be able to get some reviews. But my understanding is it's basically the same as this. So if you are willing to spend a little bit more money, I would go for that one. But this one is still a fabulous pump. You've got internal grease. Every 100 hours you turn this just to introduce more grease into the system. And then after 10 turns, I believe it is, you add more grease. Super easy to use. So overall, it's a great pump. It's worked very well for me. I haven't ever had to fix anything on it. I've had a couple other pumps where minor things have happened. For example, on the old ones, the bleed valve had a tiny little ball bearing in here that would seal the pressure. These ones have been upgraded so that there's just a little point on the bolt that doesn't get lost or anything like that. So no worries there. If you take this out all the way, you're not going to lose that little ball bearing. The hose has worked great for me. It has an internal filter already, although if you're in a humid environment, I would recommend adding another inline filter. I'm in the desert, so I don't worry about that. But overall, I would 10 out of 10 recommend, especially for long-term regular use. This thing is a tank, and it's also good at filling them. So go get yourself one. I'll have the links in the comments. I'll also have the link to the new updated one, and I hope to have a video for that one on you guys soon. Let me know if you have any questions. I try to be super punctual on responding to them. So just hit me up in the comments.